Mistress. This device converts the alternating current from your wall outlet, varying between plus and minus 325 volts, 50 or 60 UJID. Seasonic is the world's most respected power supply manufacturer, the OEM supplier behind dozens of premium brands. A power supply failure is not like a hard drive failure or a RAM failure. A hard drive failure loses data. A PSU failure can destroy data, destroy storage, destroy the GPU. Today, Proces Pulse Factory takes you inside Seasonic's new Taipei City facility, where the power supply unit that every other component depends on is designed, built.
David has spent 16 years building.
Shift starts. Somewhere on this floor, a set of PCBs, magnetics, capacitors, and switching transistors will be assembled into the power supply unit. Before a single Seasonic PSU delivers power, its components have been sourced from across the world, each selected against engines. Seasonic specifies Japanese electrolytic capacitors for every primary and secondary stage. Nippon Chemicon, Rubitance. Seasonic's primary switching MOSFETs must switch at 100 kHz 100,000 times per second at voltages exceeding 400 milliamps. Seasonic's LLC resonant converter operates at 100 kHz, a switching frequency that requires ferrite core material whose fairings. Seasonic's PSU PCBs carry heavy copper traces, 2-ounce or 3 copper weight in current-carrying sections. Seasonic's EMI filter stage must simultaneously attenuate the switching frequency noise that the PSU's 100 kHz generates.
Seasonic's capacitor specification for primary stage applications requires ESR values and capacitance stability at operating temperature that represent the upper tier of our production capability.
Seasonic winds its own transformers in-house. The electrical design of each transformer tailored to the specific LLC resonant. Seasonic's incoming capacitor inspection measures ESR at 100 kHz, not just capacitance, which is the parameter most incoming inspections verify. And here, with a PCB whose heavy copper traces are fabricated to carry 10 amperes without resistive heating that reduces efficiency, Seasonic's production floor reflects the engineering depth of power supply manufacturing. SMT assemble for the control circuitry alongside manual insertion. The primary PCB SMT assembly places the LLC resonant controller and gate drive ICs that orchestrate the PSU's power conversion. The secondary PCB assembly places the synchronous rectifier MOSFETs that replace conventional diodes in Seasonic's premium designs. The PSU control board implements the protection functions that prevent a failing PSU from destroying connected components, including over-PEMFLEs. PSU chassis assembly integrates the electrical assemblies with the mechanical structure that safety standards require.
Seasonic's fan selection for premium PSUs uses fan bearings rated for the temperature and lifetime that the PSU's service life specification requires.
Formal coating on Seasonic's primary PCB protects the high-voltage primary circuit from the humidity and contamination that can establish leakage paths. Seasonic's automated electrical test verifies every PSU against its complete electrical specification, output voltage accuracy. Seasonic's burn-in testing operates every PSU at elevated load and elevated ambient temperature, the thermal stress that
varies. Transient response testing applies sudden load steps, the equivalent of a CPU transitioning from idle to full load in microseconds.
80+ titanium certification requires efficiency above 90% at 20% load, above 92% at 50% load, and above 89% at 100% load. Somewhere in Seasonic's development program, the next PSU generation is being prototyped. Current Seasonic designs achieve 94% efficiency at 50% load. Before going further, we signed Seasonic's non-disclosure agreement. Seasonic's OEM relationships, the designs that Seasonic produces for Corsair.
Simon has been designing power supply topologies at Seasonic for 10 years, the LLC resonant converter designs, the active PFC stages, and the synchronous rectification schemes.
Seasonic's LLC resonant converter operates the primary switching transistors at zero voltage switching, the condition where the MOSFET drain source voltage is zero when the gate turns on.
ATX 3.0's PCIe GPU power connector can draw 600 watts through a single connector, and the GPU that ramps from idle load.
Seasonic's semi-passive fan mode, where the fan stops below 40% load, requires a robust thermal design. The full in layers. Seasonic's OEM business produces PSUs that ship under Corsair, EVGA, Fractals and Design and other
pants. Seasonic's protection circuit thresholds are set by the failure mode analysis of what can go wrong, the specific voltage, current, and temperatures. The capacitor's rated lifetime halving for every 10-degree increase. A 105-degree rated capacitor exceeds. Seasonic measures every major competitor PSU on its own test systems, the ripple performance, load regulation, transient response, and efficiency that competing products deliver.
The manufacturing challenges are significant. We're looking at entirely new material requirements and tighter tolerances than ever before.
Building power supplies that deliver stable, clean power across the complete load range of modern high-performance computing simpinged for a decade without failure. The ripple is still exceeding the specification on the 12-volt rail.
I'm adjusting the timing, but the ESR looks high on C17.
The datasheet confirms the lower value, 100 in simul. 80+ titanium certification requires efficiency above specific thresholds at specific load points, thresholds that leave a margin. Protection circuit threshold tolerance, the variation in the voltage, current, or temperature at which protection circuits activate, determines whether the protection protects connected components or fails to prevent damage.
PSU thermal management must maintain every component below its rated operating temperature at the maximum ambient temperature that the ATX standard specifies.
In a production period, calibration drift in the synchronous rectifier timing reference produced gate drive timing that lagged the optimal zero current switching point, increasing conduction losses. The solution, synchronous rectifier timing verification at 20% load before full load efficiency testing. The timing deviation that produced efficiency failure. Seasonic's night shift builds and tests PSUs to the same electrical specification as the day shift, the PC builder who installs a night shift Seasonic PSU. Seasonic produces PSUs both under its own brand and as the OEM manufacturer for dozens of premium brands, the total production volume. Right now, servers, workstations, and gaming PCs powered by Seasonic PSUs are accumulating billions of computing hours of continuous operation. From PCBs and Japanese capacitors to a complete, tested, certified Seasonic power supply, days of assembly and testing. A data center with 10,000 servers, each drawing 500 watts from a PSU, saves 500 kilowatts of power consumption when using 92% efficient PSUs. The gaming community's experience of system stability, the absence of GPU driver crashes, the overclocking headroom above rated GPU frequency, and the system longevity over years of gaming. Professional workstation users whose livelihoods depend on system uptime, the architect whose rendering deadline is 3 hours away, the VFX artist whose compositing pipeline cannot restart.
Maintenance, the small business server that runs continuously for 8 years without a power supply replacement, does so because the PSU whose Japanese capacity.
Seasonic has manufactured power supplies in Taiwan since 1975. 50 years of power electronics engineering expertise. The 80+ program, to which Seasonic's products have contributed the highest efficiency tier since titanium was introduced, has reduced global PC electricity consumption.
Persemmerids. The PC enthusiast community that independently tests PSUs, the reviewers at Joni Guru, Gamers Nexus, and Excess and Hardware Busters, who's making more sinks. Seasonic offers 12-year warranties on its Prime Series PSUs, the longest standard warranty in the PC component industry.
The GPU that costs $1,500, the motherboard that costs $500, the NVMe drive with irreplaceable data, all of them connect.
With this innovative modular system, you can achieve precise cable management, leading to enhanced airflow within the case.
The premium PC brand ecosystem benefits from Seasonic's OEM capability, the brands that provide excellent customer service, brand recognition, and market presence. David reviews the overnight burn-in failure distribution every morning before production begins. A single failure in 500 units is random, 3 failures with the same failure mode.
David's production reference PSU has been electrically characterized against Seasonic's primary standards and is used to verify the test system's accuracy.
Seasonic.
Why?
His nephew asked, why Seasonic? David said, because I know what goes into them. His nephew said, do you work for Seasonic? David said, yes.
The night shift builds and tests Seasonic PSUs to the same electrical specification as the day shift, the PC builder who installs a night shift Seasonic PSU. Chen Minghua has been building Seasonic power supplies since the facility opened. He worked on linear power supplies before switching to polyphonic.
She reviews the efficiency and regulation distributions every morning, because a distribution whose center is shifting toward a specification boundary.
The titanium certification milestone was acknowledged briefly. Then production continued. The certification means our design met the efficiency threshold.
The timing calibration drift incident is the training case every Seasonic production test engineer studies, the efficiency failure that production testing.
Everything connected to it depends on the 12V rail staying within plus or minus 1%. The test data says you built that correctly. It was correct.
Vince, you have seen how it is made. Now tell us, what surprised you most about what goes into the component that everything in your PC depends on?
Next on Process Pulse Factory, we go inside the facility manufacturing something 2 billion people consume every single morning. It has been made the same way for over a century. The extended cut, including the full 80+ titanium efficiency optimization program and the complete protection circuit threshold design methodology, is available exclusively for Process Pulse Factory members. Process Pulse Factory. Every week, a new facility, a new process, a new world hidden inside the components that make the digital world possible. Subscribe and never look at a power supply the same way again.